Hi there. I'm going to do a review for Mercy. Recently saw this film. Uh, Not entirely sure what to say about this movie. It's kind of a weird movie because it reminded me a heck of a lot of Minority Report, and there's a certain other movie that I'm pretty sure most people have forgotten about that it sort of is similar to, which is called Source Code. But regardless, this movie starred Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. I really get a kick out of this movie because it was trying so hard to be kind of like Minority Report. Unfortunately, it also took the aims at the recent War of the Worlds movie, which came out and had iPhone usage heavy in it. The movie features basically a guy trying to prove his innocence in 90 minutes. If he doesn't prove his innocence, he will be killed. It's that pretty straightforward concept there. The problem is it actually any good? I don't think it's that good. I was having a hard time figuring out if this wasn't just contrived or not because they're trying to figure out a murder situation in 90 minutes. I'm like thinking, okay, in 90 minutes, how much could you possibly have happened? I mean, that's one of the problems with these movies is that they make them and they and I think the director kind of just wanted to pop off a movie and just have it. I mean, the concept is interesting, but it's basically just the Minority Report. If anybody, most people have seen, I assume have seen that one. But this one was kind of like different because it's kind of meant for the modern age audience with the concept of constant flipping tabs and all that stuff and answering the phones, trying to get people in the last minute on the phones. I was like thinking, how do you expect to solve this crime in 90 minutes? This doesn't make any sense. Nonetheless, that's the premise, so we gotta live with it. There's some things to like about it. I like the fact that basically they find out that indeed he is innocent, and that there's indeed a bad guy, a guy that has a chip on his shoulder against the guy. I was not expecting this to come at all. I couldn't imagine otherwise. Nonetheless, I'm not entirely sure what the concept of the joke was supposed to be about this movie. It was supposed to be an AI Rebecca Ferguson. Basically, she's not real. I think. I think that's the whole point of it. I think she's not supposed to be real. It's kind of a weird, wonky movie. I'm not entirely sure what it was supposed to be about because I'm not sure how much you can possibly have happen in 90 minutes. It seems like they had everything happen in 90 minutes in this movie. But nonetheless, that's the premise. Did it do well enough in those 90 minutes? Sort of. It was sort of entertaining at times. I couldn't honestly understand how the heck he was able to get a hold of everybody he was able to get a hold of in 90 minutes. Surely they wouldn't expect you to be able to solve a crime in 90 minutes. I mean, even Tom Cruise in Minority Report was able to do that over a couple of days, proving his innocence. He wasn't asked to do it in 90 minutes. Anybody who thinks this was a good idea to incite this idea of trial is, I think, kind of doesn't understand how the law system works and how fast it actually takes to process evidence. There is no way they processed evidence from the crime scene in 90 minutes. There's no way they processed any of the crime scene quickly enough to get his idea on that. So I was like thinking, okay, I thought this movie was going to be a lot more like Minority Report, where they'd have him be an actual cop who's doing his job, and blah 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 happens, and next you know he finds himself on the chair. Instead, he's just on the chair, and I was like, oh, so I'm not going to waste any time on that. Nonetheless, the movie's not terribly longer than 90 minutes, which is probably a really good thing because there really isn't much to talk about here. I think the most contrived thing in this movie is the fact they were able to get a hold of everybody they were able to get a hold of. I mean, like, how many times do people randomly dial, randomly get a hold, put a call on hold or anything? Um, Honestly, I'm not entirely sure why they. I wasn't sure. I saw the trailer a couple times. I still couldn't figure out exactly what. I thought it was gonna like. I thought it was gonna be a different kind of movie. So it was fairly straightforward. The problem is, I don't think it was actually any good. It had a fairly basic premise, but it whether or not it was executing that premise very well, I don't know because it just seems like a contrived scenario. Basically, you wake up in the chair. He's after he's been drunk, or supposedly, well, he never supposedly never gets drunk. Nonetheless, Chris Pratt's character is like, hey, I don't understand. What do you mean I killed my wife? I couldn't have. I would never do that. And of course, the whole system is meant to show why this is a bad idea, which I guess is supposed to be the whole joke of this movie, is just showing you why this is a bad scenario. I don't really understand. It's sort of got its problems with it. It does not know how to straighten out its problems with its premise. And I think what it boils down to is the fact that they have so much go off in an hour and a half. It's pretty silly. I mean, you have him calling his daughter like multiple times, and of course everybody thinks it's him. I'm like thinking, you cannot possibly process evidence that fast. I don't know what the heck they were thinking. But nonetheless, there are certain details to the movie that are pretty good. I like the way that Rebecca Ferguson puts him on trial. I guess I don't know. I don't know that this. I'm not sure exactly what the whole point of it is, putting them on trial in a chair and having them figure out their own crime in like 90 minutes. I don't know. Weird. It's been made for a more modern generation. I mean, I've seen similar movies like this. Where actually, there's lots of movies like this. Anybody who remembers The Fugitive, it's a similar concept. The guy claims he's innocent. Of course, most people don't claim guilty on those verdicts, but it's sort of like The Fugitive, where he swears he is innocent. Um, I mean, it's obviously proven in the end that he was innocent, and the case gets dismissed, and then AI is a good thing, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure if they're trying to make a case for AI or make a case against AI. It's more or less the fact that one of the first things I noticed is how much intrusions into public life there are. I mean, in considering the fact that there's only about 40 crimes or 40 laws are broken just trying to get the case solved because they're intruding on people's personal space, which is completely insane. In truth, you'd have to have a court order to get a hold of all these cell phones in order to get information off anything. You wouldn't just be able to access the cell phones and get information off them. So that part's insane. I mean, no, they can't. They can't just do that. They got to get a court order and do all that stuff. Can't just decide to do something. Nonetheless, it has a few good moments in it. I guess I don't know. I didn't find it particularly that interesting. I thought it was amusing that he has all these dialogues that go exactly how he needs them to go. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're on the mercy unit. Oh, I gotta cooperate." And I'm like thinking, so obviously this has a reputation that this is a bad thing if you get called. It's a really high stakes game. So I'm not. Again, there's no way you're solving a crime in 90 minutes like this. How they even got it pinned on him, I don't have a clue. I guess all the evidence pointed to him, except for the fact that if he figured it out in 90 minutes, why didn't they figure it out in 90 minutes? Like, that's the part that doesn't really add up all that well in this movie, is that, you know, if they figured out, if he figured it out, why didn't they figure it out? Obviously, there's a little problem with the judicial system right now in this movie, is that they apparently are pinning people back. Apparently, even the guy that was supposed to get a phone call through to prove his innocence and didn't go through. I was like thinking, well, how are you processing this guy so quickly? I mean, and of course, in this case, they proved that an earlier case ended up being should have been an innocent verdict, which is ironic given the fact that in 90 minutes they managed to prove this guy is innocent. Case dismissed. So why wasn't the adjudicator in the whole thing capable of proving this themselves? Why did they need Chris Pratt at all to do this? I don't know. It's kind of a silly premise. I guess, again, this is like a cheap knockoff of Minority Report, which, of course, it's supposed to be a method to sort of frame somebody for murder, I guess. It appears this must be happening more often than not. I don't know. It's kind of a silly movie. They only violate people's personal space like 30 times in this film. I mean, you're going through people's cell phones here, stuff here. I'm like thinking, okay, you actually have to have a court order to do any of that stuff. You can't just randomly run into these people's cell phone files. What happens if you find out something you're really not supposed to find out? I don't know. It's it's a watchable movie, but it's really just a once-off film. It's not particularly good. I can't really recommend it. But yeah, it was fine. I guess it was almost watchable. But there it is.